You know, I've had Dunkin' iced coffee before, and I just have to say I'm not impressed with it. I've gotten in heated arguments with people over which is better between McDonald's and Dunkin' iced coffee. McDonald's is way better. I don't know what you guys are talking about. But whatever, it doesn't matter. What matters is we have an iced coffee. It's just me sitting in my office talking on my phone. We are back to basics today with episode 12 of Fit Brew Friday. Nothing fancy, no surprises, not Rob introducing me, obviously. I hope you guys enjoyed that last week. I thought it was funny. We are back to the foundations of what made Fit Brew Friday a thing. And I'm kind of excited about it. We're getting back to it. Although Friday did really sneak up on me this week. I feel like yesterday was Monday and all of a sudden it's Friday today and I have to do this video. I mean, I get to do this video because I enjoy this. This is a good time. I really do have fun with these and I hope you guys keep participating. Which, on that note, you did this week. We got 3 good questions here. I've already wasted a minute and a half of nonsense. And so let's get into it. Best way to promote active recovery after a long week in the gym? That's a great question because it is very important to stay active even after a long week of exercise, assumably weightlifting. You definitely want to keep moving. I forget which law that Newton established that says an object in motion stays in motion until acted on by another object. I think that's how it goes. The same goes for your recovery with weight training. If you keep moving and keep blood flowing throughout your body, that's going to help prevent you from getting locked up and sore and tight after intense workouts. And so I'm going to preface my whole answer just by saying movement in general. We want to keep moving even whenever you are tired and beat up. And so maybe with the first thought that I had whenever I came up with this question, and whenever I got to this question, was finding different movement patterns that you maybe don't do throughout the week in your usual workouts. So finding those new movement patterns that allow you to keep variable in your training and allow you to kind of get a full, comprehensive approach to your exercise and your wellness. And I think a way to think about this is the big guy that you see at the gym every week, 3 times a week doing bench press. He's only getting that movement pattern in. He's not doing much else. You certainly never seen him in the squat rack. And what that guy's gonna find out later is that his shoulders and his pecs and everything are all locked up, and he's gonna lose a ton of mobility, and he's gonna have some issues later on. Which again, this is kind of getting into long-term issues with repetitive training. But find exercises that you don't normally do. Maybe take an exercise class, a yoga class, something along those lines, and try different things. The yoga's great because you're going to get a little bit of mobility, some stretching work, some balance stuff that you're not accustomed to. And again, that's going to keep that blood flowing and keep you loose and agile through the weekend or whenever you're not training. So maybe some hiking, some kind of outdoor activity. It's wintertime. Right now it's freaking raining, but normally in winter you expect snow, so some skiing, some snowboarding, something like that, just to keep you moving, keep your heart rate up, keep that blood flowing. I kind of went off on a small tangent there about mobility and staying loose in joints that tend to get seized up from overuse throughout the week. So foam rolling on a lacrosse ball, soft tissue work on yourself, even a deep tissue massage, not necessarily active, but a great recovery method for after a week of training. Just allowing our joints to go through a full range of motion and working that tissue so that we are able to open up into that full range. And something I like to promote a lot and work with my clients on in particular is breathing. So deep belly breathing as opposed to chest breathing where every time you breathe in and out, your chest is rising and falling. We want to think about breathing into our torso. Not only is that going to give us better control of our deep breathing muscles, but it's also going to give us a little bit better control over our abdominal musculature that allows us to brace for those compound exercises. Again, whole different point, unrelated to the topic at hand, but breathing in your in your mobilization drills, and just taking your time sitting in those positions for longer than you might throughout the week whenever you're trying to get your workout in quick. So you kind of run through the warm-up, just get through as fast as you can. Taking your time, running through the same kind of exercises you do in the warm-up, those dynamic movements, and taking your time in each position to get a couple breaths. Because when you can breathe and hold a position, that's when you own that position. If you're just throwing your leg into this position and it's flying right back out, but you got it there, you don't own that position. Your body's springing right back out of it. It doesn't want to be there. So we want to take our time, slow that down, and breathe and get those nice deep stretches in those uncomfortable positions. And then just hydrating. Stay hydrated throughout the weekend. I know I keep saying weekend. I assume that most of you guys that take time off from training is on the weekend. So if I'm wrong, I apologize. But not taking that time off to go out partying all the time or eat a bunch of garbage food. Getting a ton of water in. If you would get some electrolytes, especially if you're doing some active stuff that has you sweating on the side or outside of your training, refueling with electrolytes and water and sodium, and as well as eating well and replenishing your glycogen from the week, making sure you get plenty of carbs in, plenty of protein, just allowing your body to actually use that as fuel for your recovery. Very important. I think I covered everything on there. I guess something I'll add to that is maybe some light cardio. Obviously, someone like me who doesn't do a whole lot of cardio throughout the week, especially lately, I've been doing a little bit of very casual treadmill walking in my off time. And again, just allowing that blood to keep circulating. Something to keep in mind was we're not trying, this isn't burn fat, burn out our CNS cardio, high intensity interval stuff. I get on the treadmill and walk at like 2.5 or 3 miles an hour for 20 or 30 minutes. Just some kind of movement. That's something nice to you can add in on the side. That's everything I wanted to cover. That might have been choppy. I'm out of the game. I'm sorry. It's been a while. Question 2. How do I lose my juicy booty? Continued. My hip fat, my belly flow. Well, I'm going to preface this answer with you still, it hasn't changed since last week, last year, last decade, you still can't spot treat your fat loss. And so, for me to try to tell you how to lose fat off your butt, your hips, and your belly would be ridiculous. I can't do it. It would be lying. And I don't want to lie to you guys. I do these videos to help you and give you good information. But in this case, the person who asked this is a client of Case-Specific Nutrition, so I know he or she is already working with us. To anyone out there who is having similar or the same problem with fat loss, the first thing you're going to want to do is email admin@casespecificnutrition.com and say, hey, I'm trying to lose belly fat. I want to meet with X dietitian from Case Specific. Can you please run my insurance to see if I could do that for free? And then you send that email to the admin, whose name is Kelly, and you can email her at admin@casespecificnutrition.com. Get yourself working with a professional on your diet. At the end of the day, fat loss is, at its foundational level, just a matter of calories in versus calories out. When your calories out are more, you lose fat. When your calories in are more, you gain fat or maintain, if they're close. There's obviously things that affect that and keep that from happening, hormonal issues, stress, stuff along those lines. But at the foundational level, it's calories in versus calories out. Can most people do that on their own? Yeah. Cut your portion sizes back, eat healthier food, you can lose fat. But to those of you who might have issues with that, or you want to make sure that you're getting the proper balance of carbs, fats, and proteins, and micronutrients, even vitamins, minerals, etc., email us, reach out to us, and we will get one of our awesome dietitians located all around Pittsburgh, and we'll get you in for a session and help you out. Moving on from the diet, though, maybe you need to change up in your training. I talked a few weeks ago now, I forget when it actually was, about kind of changing up your routine for, or, when your routine gets stagnant. This was with Justin and Dawn, I remember that now. If your routine is getting stagnant, maybe changing up the training goals. It's the same thing with fat loss. If you're starting to notice that the pounds aren't coming off like they were before, maybe it's time to change the way you were training. One of my suggestions is adding in some high-intensity interval work, which I think that could be a big asset, because I think there's a lot of people that get stuck in this trap of low-intensity, steady-state cardio for fat loss, because they just think running or jogging or getting on the elliptical or the Stairmaster for an hour is how you're going to lose fat. And in the moment, in an acute situation, like if you compare an hour of steady-state cardio to an hour of weight training, are you going to burn more calories in that hour? Yes. Yes, you are. That you're moving a lot. But the long-term effects of your interval work, as far as high-intensity interval training or weight training, the long-term effects are where the big difference is going to come from. Because at the end of the day, most of the calories that you expend throughout the day are not coming from your exercise sessions, whether that's cardio, weight training, whatever. It's just coming from your baseline basal metabolic rate. What that means is the energy that your body requires just to exist and not die. That is where most of your calorie expenditure each day comes from. So what happens if we add muscle mass to that frame and that baseline? Well, muscle is metabolically active, we know, so it requires calories, or calorie expenditure rather, just to maintain itself. And so someone who is, 150 pounds of lean mass versus someone who is 180 pounds lean mass, or muscle mass, we'll say, that 180 pound individual is going to expend more calories without any effort, just by existing. And so maybe the next part of your weight training, the next goal that we need to approach is just adding some muscle to your frame. Training for a little bit more hypertrophy or some strength even, that we're going to be moving heavy weight and really trying to just add a little bit of muscle size. And for the ladies out there, adding some muscle to your frame is a good thing. You're not going to look like a freaking bodybuilder. You don't understand how annoying and offensive that is whenever you think like that. I mean that in a joking way, sort of, kind of. But don't be afraid to add a little muscle to your frame. It looks good. And if there's any guys that think you look manly, then they are obviously soft. And you can find better. Sorry, another tangent. I have a lot of tangents today. And then, again, getting away from that steady state cardio all the time, if that's the trap that you are stuck in, adding in some hill sprints or some, I love sled workouts, med ball workouts, where you're just going hard as you can for 10-15 seconds, taking a nice long rest period after, and repeating that for 10-20 minutes. It's quick. It's effective. You burn crazy calories while doing it, and you get that lingering effect of the boosted metabolism. I think that's still a thing. I don't know if science disproved that. I'm pretty sure that's still a thing. And the hill sprints in particular are great for building up glute and posterior chain, like your hamstrings, your calves, your glutes, building up that musculature on your backside. You're going to build strength and get a little bit more explosiveness out of that kind of training, and build a nice butt, which you said you have a juicy booty, but maybe you just build more muscle on your butt. I don't know. It'll still be juicy, I guess, in a different way. Regardless, I am at 14 minutes, guys, and so I'm pretty much out of time on this video. I might start just doing these on YouTube, just so they can be longer. Tell me what you guys think of that. Send in more questions for next week. Look forward to doing the next one with you guys. I will address this last question in that video. And we will see you guys right back here next Friday. Have a good week.